This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Sarah Kyle, and she is the director of 211. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Nancy. How are you?
I'm very well, and thank you for being here. And I understand you were in town today for a wonderful event.
I am. Well, we're here to talk to the health and human service providers in the community, remind them about what a great resource 211 is, and remind them that we're here to serve them and their community. So we're excited to be here.
And you know, when 211 first became available in Alpena, I was so excited about it, and I went to the meetings and everything. But I have to say, I do not use 211. Tell me what I'm missing.
You're missing the best resource to connect people to services. So we are a 3-digit number that anyone can call. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's free. It's available to any single person. Pick up. You have a need and you find out who in the community is serving that need. So we can make that connection with people. And yeah, it's something you have to get used to because it's a new service, right? So, you know, it's just something we have to get into the regular culture. I have a need, what am I going to do? Dial 211. Someone comes to me and says, man, you know, I'm having a tough time paying my bills. Have you dialed 211? You know, even volunteer needs. I really would like to volunteer somewhere. I'd like to make a donation. What do? Dial 211. That's your connection to your local services.
So when I dial 211, am I getting a live person?
Yes, you are. We're live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Very rarely you might be put into a queue, but if you're going to wait for more than a minute and a half, we'll offer you a call back. But our call center has a very short wait time. On average, we answer your call in 11 seconds, so you're really going to get someone right away.
Now, how do all the agencies get signed up to be a part of 211?
So when we first came to your community, we had to make sure there were certain agencies by law that we have to have in there. So your hospitals, your domestic violence shelters, things like that. And the rest of them come from the community themselves. So whether it's a stakeholder in the community who says you need to be in 211, whether it's we have found a new resource and we put them in our database, but it's pretty simple. Pick up the phone and dial. So if you have a new program, if you're serving people, you're a nonprofit, pick up the phone, dial 211, dial the digits, let them know, hey, I'm a new program, I'd like more information about coming on board, and we'll make sure to get you the information that you need.
Now, how is 211 funded?
So 211 funded it's fascinating in our community. So our call center covers 23 counties. There are 7 centers in Michigan, and Alpena is right in our center, right? So we're funded a little differently. A third of our funding comes pretty much from Dow Chemical. A third of our funding comes from billing for services, from other donations, and then a third of our funding comes from the communities we serve. Okay. So every community contributes a small portion based on their population, gives it back to us so that we can serve their community. So it's really nice. And then communities, some of them are funded by their county commissioners. They recognize it as a service to the people they serve. Sometimes it's a local hospital that makes a donation. Very often it's our United Ways that support us. This used to be a product of our United Way. You used to call, they are doing so much now, and we are the expert now in connecting, so the United Way is a great partner.
But now you're not an emergency. Someone is a victim of domestic violence. They wouldn't call 211 to...
So we don't take 911 emergencies, okay. Although we are trained that if someone accidentally were to pick up the phone, we'll get them to their local center, and we have memorandums of understanding with local 911 centers. But when people are in need, and I would say a crisis could be, if you don't have food on your table, that's a crisis, right?
Yes.
So yes, we do take crisis calls, and if someone is in a domestic violence situation, we will connect them to their local domestic violence shelter, to their local crisis line, and we are trained to take crisis calls. Okay. So if someone does need to talk, one of the nice things is we're 24/7, and we are a warm person to say, how can I help you today?
Okay, give me an idea of some of the other services that I can access by calling 211.
So the number one requested service in our region, and really in the state of Michigan, but certainly in Northeast Michigan, is utility service. Okay. So someone has a bill that they're really having a hard time paying, or they have a shut-off notice that they can't get some help with. So we'll hopefully have the services to connect them to a local agency. So utilities is our number one call. Housing and food go back and forth between number 2 and 3. So folks who are in need of finding reasonable housing or finding help with rent, finding a shelter, and then for food, very often food pantries, We have great resources in our communities, lots of local pantries that help out, and people really need that help. So what we find, again, we're not taking emergency calls, but if you don't have food or housing, that's a crisis. If your electricity is being shut off, and that's what we're here for.
Okay, so what about a call like just a kind of a generic call like, hey, I'm looking for a new doctor in the area. Do you do those kind of calls too?
So we'll answer any question we can. To be honest, you know, we're not set up to find you a doctor, but your local hospitals are in our database.
Okay.
We're going to try to refer you to the local service. So we don't provide any service, we provide information and referral. So if someone were to call us, we have a very specific program where we can help families, children with Medicaid, find a pediatrician. We do maintain a database like that. But typically, we're going to say, okay, well, let's look in our database. Let's find your local hospital, and we'll see what they can do to help you. And then we're going to give you that information. And then, if needed, we can even transfer you. So if you're like, it's not working on my end, or can you help me with that number? We can make a transfer so that we can get you to that person quicker.
So you're here in Alpena this week just to draw awareness to 211. We want people to use these wonderful services that are out there.
Free, confidential, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Really supported by your community, supported locally. We want to provide this service, and the more people we serve, the better our service becomes.
Oh, yes.
Because sometimes we can't find the service. So someone will call us, and in the summer months, it's really hard to find local resources for utilities. But it's important to report that back to the community. So even though we might have to say, I'm really sorry, there's not a service in your community, we report those numbers back to your community so that they know the needs. You know, we are really a wonderful snapshot of the needs, of the referrals, of what's happening in a community. And that snapshot only gets clear every time someone uses us.
So what's the best way to find out more information about the program?
Pick up the phone and dial.
Okay.
Dial the digits 211. It's really important to understand there's not going to be a wrong reason to call us. If you have a 911 emergency, don't call us. Dial 911. But if you have a question, if you are not sure if your agency is in the database or should be in the database, if you have a friend who, every time you go with that friend, they talk about how they can't afford their rent, give us a call. Ask the question. If you have a hard time using the phone and you really want to use the digits, our agency website is 211nemichigan.org. That's NE as in Northeast. Or it's my211.org. So that's the state website that will get you connected to your local center. And we have both MI and MY, so you can't get it wrong, my211.org.
Okay, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being here, Sarah, and I'm going to go back and dial 211.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'll be right back with some information about the upcoming Michigan Brown Trout Festival following these messages. Hi, welcome back, and as promised, I have some information for you for the upcoming Michigan Brown Trout Festival. I have Peggy Dan Akatsuki, who is the president and director of this year's tournament. Hi, Peg.
Hi, Nance.
So, you said it's going to be something old, something new in fishing and in the festival.
Yes.
All right, so tell me what's happening.
Big tent again. There was debate, big tent, no big tent, but we are having the big tent once again this year. So new to the big tent that kickoff Friday will be the Shipwreck Alley roller derby girls.
Yay!
So yeah, they're lots of fun. So adults and children can bring rollerblades. Northern Lights Arena is going to bring a few extra rollerblades for the kids to use also. So come skate with them.
Oh,
they're going to show you how to rollerblade, and we'll make it happen in the big tent.
Sounds wonderful.
So it'll be fun.
They're just like so much fun, and I mean the crowds have just been phenomenal coming to watch them skate. So I'm really excited that
Great team. They're so
participating.
Fun.
Good.
Yeah, that's new. And then the Hooked on Music with the Thunder Bay Arts Council this year, first time in the tent, and that's part of their fundraising that they've got going on right now for their sculpture. So they have 4 bands that they will be bringing in for that night.
Okay.
And so they'll rotate. But that's only going to be $5 entrance fee.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so that'll be a fun night too.
Okay.
And then we're going to have a little fishing seminar in the tent during the week for kids and for adults.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a couple of guys from the Walleye Club.
Perfect.
That are going to be in there and show you some things about fishing and a little seminar type program.
Okay.
And then our Veterans Night that we host every year, we've teamed up with Gene Skiba, Alpena Buick GMC this year. So we'll have hats for the veterans until supplies run out, free hats, and some other stuff going on that evening. The flag ceremony and Sergeant Robert Mills from CRTC, he will come help MC again and host, and the Alpena City Band
Oh,
is going to come
perfect.
play for us.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we're excited about that too. That's their first time playing for us, so we're looking forward to it.
So give me a lineup then of some of the other events that'll be going on.
We have all of our fishing tournaments taking place.
Okay.
And the MWT is here once again this year.
Okay.
This is our third year with them.
Okay.
So we're very lucky once again there. PNC, the kids fishing tournament, is taking place. The Bingo on the Bay. This is our third year. That's a new fishing tournament for the adults.
Okay.
So we have all the fishing tournaments going on once again towards the end of the week. The dates have changed, so they need to check the website and Facebook. We've been posting everything, registration forms posted. It's also on the website. It's also in the book that should be out within the next week, out and about.
Okay.
And a few things changed on the registration form.
All right.
And you'll just have to watch, pay attention to those particular tournaments.
All right, and it starts on the 14th and it goes through the
23rd.
23rd. And we're emphasizing fishing this year. Lots of fun events come into the weigh-ins. Those will all be exactly the same. And you know, what about the big nights for big bands and things? Are we going to have any of those this year?
Yes, we'll have the 1077 Bay Bash.
Okay.
And that is at during the second week of Brown Trout. So it'll
Okay.
be that second Friday, the
Ooh, it's on a Friday.
22nd.
Perfect.
Yes, Daryl asked that we could host it at the end, and because that's when a lot of the fishermen and fisher ladies will be in town also.
Perfect.
For all the tournaments. So we want to make sure that if they have an opportunity to attend his event also. But it's back to the 80s.
Oh, wow.
So bring out the old tie-dyed and stuff like that. And I think he's going to have contests. We'll have
Perfect.
prize packs to give away and stuff. So it'll be fun.
Now, what about a large raffle item?
The raffle this year is not a four-wheeler type item.
Okay.
It is going to be it's a prize giveaway valued at, a trip giveaway.
Okay.
That is an $8,000 value.
Okay.
Or the winner can choose a $5,000 check.
Oh, okay.
So the travel certificate is good for a 2-year period.
Perfect.
You can take as many people as you want, as many trips as you want. You've got 8,000 to use as you choose.
Wow, perfect.
So it's very nice. The first time ever, and tickets are really selling.
Now, I know we don't have time to mention all the sponsors, but give me like some top sponsors.
We have got the Alpena Buick GMC, Neiman's.
Okay.
We've got Meyer.
Okay.
And we've got PNC for sure. Suez.
Okay.
Lafarge, both Lafarge, especially for our super tournament.
All right,
We're
good.
very lucky to have both of them. The Huron Distributors, Alpena Beverage, and I think we've got Griffin Beverage comes on, JJ Steak and Pizza House, he's our vendor, Pepsi, because they help co-host the event for the teens.
All right. Now teen event. There is a teen event.
We're going to have both of them again this year.
Okay.
Yeah, we need both.
And so obviously on a tournament this size where it brings thousands of people to our community, you need volunteers.
Yeah, the volunteers that we need someone who can do, if they've got bookkeeping experience, for example,
Okay.
for the registration trailer area.
All right.
But it is a huge commitment because it can be late night hours.
Okay.
It's where we're tallying up the fishing registration information,
All right.
names, numbers, and all that stuff. So they can call me on the Brown Trout phone, the 989-590-2480.
Okay.
If they're interested or not, but it is a commitment. So only interested, and if you can commit to it, that's what we're looking for because it can be late night hours.
And you have all the service clubs back on board again this year to do all
All
of
the service clubs are back on board, and they all put in their 220 hours per club.
And there'll be adult beverages, I'm assuming, in the events where it's 21 and over.
Yes, and must have ID on grounds.
Okay.
Teen night, no backpacks, once again, so parents can feel very safe about that. Security is on grounds and in that tent at all times for that night, for both teen nights.
Okay.
We've got that going on, and Big Brownie is back for our fishing.
Oh, yay.
$25,000 check to the lucky angler.
Wow.
So we brought that back on this year.
Very good.
We're doing a lot with fish planting. We've got Tim Vyshevsky, who takes care of that for us. He makes sure that the planting takes place, him and Brad McNeil. So you'll see a lot of donations on the form. And we've got a lot of community support on planting the browns.
Okay, so the best way for someone to see a schedule until the book is out is to go on the website? Which is?
Which is www.browntroutfestival.com.
Okay.
And Facebook.
All right.
We're updating all the time. You'll see it.
Okay, and I just know it'll be a wonderful, successful event like it always is, and we'll just hope the weather holds out.
Yep, and if not, we've got those tents, and there's something going on every night, small tent bands.
Oh, small tents too?
It's booked every night with that, and don't forget the kickoff is the beach party, Neiman's.
Oh, yes.
Family
Friday
beach
the 14th, and then it starts with Good Morning Alpena at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Yep.
All right, sounds like a lot of fun, and I always say it's just so wonderful during Brown Trout Festival to see that harbor be so wonderfully used, and so many people, and people you don't know and recognize, and you know, they come to our town and they see they like it and they come back again.
Yep.
Thank you,
We're looking
Peg.
forward to it. Thanks, Nance.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster. I'm president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Gary Hollingsworth.
Hi.
Gary is our videographer at the college. He does work with the TAC grant, works with Dawn Stone and her team, and is very involved in drone work.
Yes.
So, Gary, that's just a real exciting topic for us, and I have to say I was at a sanctuary advisory board meeting last night. Wonderful group of people, and that's NOAA's governing body, and they talked about some work that you were doing with John Bright and some videography using drones. Why don't you flesh that out for the viewers?
Well, there's a couple projects that I'm working on through the college with them, but in particular last week there was a group of filmmaking students that had come up from Grand Valley State University, and they were creating a series of mini documentaries for the Alpena and surrounding areas that dealt with the state parks and lighthouses and just the beautiful shoreline and natural resources that we have in the area. And they required they really wanted to get some drone footage. And so the folks at NOAA there, Phil and John, they had contacted the college and asked if we would want to participate. And that's a fun group of people there, and so we got together and kind of figured a structure out that we could sort of work with them on, and so we did. So all last week we were filming and flying drones, and it worked out pretty good.
What did those students think about all that drone footage?
They loved it. They really like the different perspective that a drone will give you versus, you know, being either on a tripod or walking around. So it gives a really unique imagery to the viewer because, you know, we flew out over the water and in the Rockport area, and we were able to see structures that are underneath the water from a certain elevation that otherwise it would be a little hazy to see from shore. And we were able to see some shipwrecks out at Besser Bell, and that was really fun out there. We had some canoers going by and kayakers, paddleboarders, and all sorts of stuff going on. So
yeah, well, I saw a couple of the shots you referenced. One in particular was I think the Presqu'île Lighthouse. Or a lighthouse up that way. And it was shot, the drone was behind and probably about 60 feet high. So it was right about, not quite at the level of the top of the lighthouse, but it had an open view of the water, which was just like your shirt, except a little bit darker. And it was just a spectacular shot.
Yes.
And it strikes me that from a cinematography standpoint, a drone provides some opportunities and some challenges as well.
It does. One of the challenges, especially on that particular day, it was extremely windy. And the clouds were coming in, and then they'd blow out, and you get some blue sky, and then they'd come back. And you know, when you're on a production schedule, you have a certain amount of time allotted for different shots and things like that. And so we were kind of, you know, what are we going to do? But we had sort of an opportunity. Everything kind of worked out. The wind calmed down just enough to go get a few good shots that I think that they'll be able to use. And certainly the students were really satisfied with those shots. So and I think it went well.
I have to tell you, I was at the meeting last night, and one of the young men came into the meeting who had just paddled across Lake Huron.
Oh, yes.
And from Misery Bay to Canada.
Right.
28 hours on a paddleboard, and he was one fit young guy and tired.
Yeah.
It was really neat. But I'm understanding you did like a 5-hour cinematography class for these students.
Yes, that was at the beginning of last week. It was held at NOAA at the Marine Sanctuary, and really was sort of an introductory course on using a drone for the effects of the different angles that you can get. You know, how to keep certain images in focus and framed, you know, properly as you're kind of spinning around. It just allowed for a whole host of different types of you know, challenges and opportunities for them to learn. So they were quite excited about it.
And they're asking you to come down to Grand Valley to do something similar?
They have invited me to come down to Grand Valley in this fall, maybe September or so, you know. So and I'll be pretty much presenting a same type of class to this coming year's students.
That's neat.
So yeah, it'd be fun.
So last week we had Senator Stamas and Representative Aller in town, and they flew a drone, which I think they were very excited about.
Yes.
And you had a hand in that. So what was going on over there as the senator was working the...
Well, he was actually quite fearless with the drone. At first, you know, you never know how someone's going to approach, you know, attacking that. Are they going to be, you know, a bit apprehensive or a little bit worried about, you know, am I going to crash?
Yeah.
He grabbed the controls and he seemed to know what he was doing yet. That was the first time he flew, and he had his drone way down there.
He did.
And
it was like 400 feet high.
It was, it was, and it was a long ways away. But we had 2 drones out there that day. I was filming Senator Stamos and Brian and Sue. So my drone was filming them and their drone, and it was a good time.
Yeah,
they were really happy with what we've got going on here.
Yes, they were, and that's important.
Yes.
You know, things tie together in ways that are, in our line of work, that can be hard to predict or hard to foresee. Yes. But they gave us great help on our capital outlay project, which didn't have anything to do with drones.
Right.
But it does have to do with renovating Van Laer Hall.
Right.
And that has come through. That came through yesterday. So that will be about $3,350,000 from the state.
Excellent, yeah.
So thank you for your efforts.
Oh, certainly.
And thank you folks for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your hosts, Nancy Smitham and Don McMaster. For a list of events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on the community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.
The Talk of the Town furniture and set design are provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South in Alpena.